Hey, everyone. Welcome back to Let's Talk About It. Today, we're stepping into a case that's both famous and painfully unresolved. One of those mysteries that never really leaves the public imagination. It's been tied to Philadelphia for nearly 70 years, and at the center of it is a little boy found in the woods, alone, with no name the world can agree on. This is the case many people know as the boy in the box. Let's start where it all began. It's February 25th, 1957, in a wooded area of Fox Chase, Philadelphia. A college student is out checking animal traps. Just another routine day, until he notices something strange in the brush. A cardboard box that doesn't belong out there. And inside that box is the body of a young child. The boy is naked, wrapped in a plaid blanket. The box itself had originally been packaging for a bassinet from JCPenney. Investigators estimate the boy is somewhere between 4 and 6 years old. He's small, around 3'4", and about 30 pounds. And there are details that immediately raise questions. His hair looks like it was cut recently, but not carefully. Bits and clumps of hair are found on his body and inside the box, like someone hurried through it or did it under stress. The medical examiner believes he'd been dead for weeks, possibly even months. And here's one of the most haunting parts. The boy appears to have been well-nourished. There aren't signs of long-term starvation or ongoing, visible abuse. But he does have surgical scars. One on the ankle, one near the groin, and one on the chin, marks that suggest he had medical care at some point in his short life. His death, though, is clear and brutal. The cause is blunt force trauma to the head. Multiple blows. Someone hurt him badly enough to kill him, and then left him in the woods like he was nothing. Once police realize what they're dealing with, they launch an enormous investigation, one of the biggest Philadelphia had seen at the time. They canvass neighborhoods, go door to door, chase down every possible connection. They comb through missing child reports, expecting that surely, somewhere, a family is desperately searching for this little boy. But the terrifying reality is this: they don't find him in the system. No missing child report matches. No caregiver comes forward. No one claims him. To try to force a spark of recognition, police distribute an astonishing number of flyers, hundreds of thousands, showing a post-mortem image of the boy, hoping the public will identify him. They even take fingerprints from children in local schools, searching for any match. Still nothing. Not one solid lead that holds up. The scene and the condition of the body suggest something else, too. Someone tried to wipe him from the world. The boy had been washed after death. His nails were trimmed. His hair had been cut. Those aren't random details. They feel deliberate, like someone wanted to erase evidence, or maybe erase the boy's identity itself. Either way, it worked. Decades later, he's still unidentified. Investigators do what they can with the physical evidence. The cardboard box becomes a clue because it's distinctive and it came from somewhere. Police trace it back to a JCPenney store in Upper Darby. They learned it had been sold roughly 2 weeks before the boy was found. So now, there's a timeline. There's a point of purchase. But even with that, they hit a wall. They can't determine who bought it. The plaid blanket is identified, but it's essentially a dead end, too common, too difficult to trace back to a specific person. A man's corduroy cap is recovered nearby, and for a while, it seems like it might be important. But investigators can't prove it belonged to the person responsible, or even that it has anything to do with the crime. And that's how this case goes. A lot of items that feel like they should matter, but nothing that can be pinned down with certainty. From the beginning, the public latches onto this case. It dominates headlines, and the boy's face becomes deeply familiar to people even outside Philadelphia. His image is printed and reprinted year after year, because police are hoping for the simplest breakthrough imaginable. Someone sees him and says, "I know that child. I recognize him. That's the boy from down the street." But that moment never comes. No one ever definitively identifies him. And in 1957, he's buried in a potter's field, essentially laid to rest as an unknown child. Years later, people push for him to be treated with more dignity, more care, more acknowledgement. In 1998, his body is exhumed so that DNA testing can be attempted. After that, He is reburied at Ivy Hill Cemetery with a headstone that reads, "Heavenly Father, bless this unknown boy." Even now, people leave toys, flowers, and notes at his grave, small offerings that say what the record never could. You matter to someone, even if we didn't know your name. Over the years, there are tips, some of them chilling, some of them vague, and some that seem almost too detailed to dismiss. In 1960, a woman known only as M tells her psychiatrist a story that the boy had been purchased, unofficially acquired, and that he died after being beaten. Some parts of her account line up with the known facts, but she doesn't cooperate in a way that allows investigators to verify her claims. Without evidence, it stays in the category of possibility, not proof. Then in 2002, another woman, often referred to as Martha, comes forward with a different story, saying the boy had lived in her childhood home and was killed by her abusive mother. Investigators take it seriously and look into it because you have to. But as they dig deeper, inconsistencies appear, and eventually, DNA testing eliminates the suggested connections. The lead collapses like so many others. And that's why this case has attracted so many theories across the decades. Was the boy in foster care? Was there an informal or illegal adoption, something that would never show up in official paperwork? Was he being hidden from authorities? Was there trafficking involved? People have speculated everything you can imagine, partly because the facts allow for so many possibilities. But speculation isn't the same as a name, and it isn't the same as justice. What's changed over time is the science. In 1998, DNA is extracted from the boy's remains. That alone is a huge step forward compared to what investigators had in 1957. That DNA is run through national databases, compared against missing persons entries, and tested against other unidentified remains. Still nothing. In 2016, modern forensic techniques are used to create a new composite image, an updated representation of what the boy may have looked like in life. It spreads widely online and brings fresh attention to the case. People share it, discuss it, and hope that the internet might do what decades of flyers couldn't. But even with renewed publicity, the identity remains out of reach. You might wonder about investigative genetic genealogy, the approach that has cracked major cold cases in recent years, including famously identifying suspects like the Golden State Killer. In theory, it could help here too. But the challenge is that genetic genealogy depends on finding relatives in commercial DNA databases and then building a family tree backward. If the boy's relatives aren't in those systems, or if the connections are too distant, you can end up with nowhere to go. It's been considered, but it's not a guaranteed solution. So where does the case stand today? Officially, it's still open. Detectives still accept tips. But realistically, the people who might have known the boy personally in 1957, neighbors, relatives, anyone who saw something, would be elderly now or already gone. Time has taken away witnesses, memories, and opportunities. And yet, the pull of this mystery hasn't faded. In many ways, the boy in the box has become more than a case file. It's a symbol. It's taught in criminology programs. It's discussed whenever people talk about unidentified victims and what it means to lose someone without even knowing their name. It also marks the gap between how far forensic science has come and how sometimes, even now, it still can't answer the most basic question: who was this child? And that's the part that stays with me. This boy lived a real life, however short it was. He had a face. He had scars that suggest doctor visits, and someone, at some point, paid attention to him. And then his life ended violently, and he was left in a box in the woods. Nearly 70 years later, we're still calling him unknown. But people haven't stopped caring. Not in Philadelphia. Not among investigators who kept the file alive, and not among the strangers who visit his grave and leave reminders that he's remembered. Maybe someday, a new technology will open a door that's been shut for decades. Maybe someone's old memory will connect to a new piece of evidence. Maybe the right relative's DNA will finally appear in the right database. And maybe, one day, we'll be able to say his name out loud and give him back the identity that was taken from him. Thanks for spending this time with me on Let's Talk About It. If you want more deep dives into cases like this, consider following, rating, or subscribing. It helps the show reach more people, and it helps keep these stories from being forgotten. Until next time, take care of yourselves and each other.